Hello, welcome back to another episode of Math with Haas. You're watching Precalculus Season 2, Episode 31. We're continuing investigation in trigonometry, and we are now going to derive the product to some identities. Alright, so we're first going to recall that sine of alpha plus beta is equal to sine alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine beta. And similarly, sine of alpha minus beta is equal to sine alpha cosine beta minus cosine alpha sine beta. Now, what we're going to do is actually just add these two equations together. So we'll draw us a nice big line. So everything on the left are going to be added together. Everything on the right are going to be added together. And notice all of these terms here will kill each other off. So you have sine of alpha plus beta plus sine of alpha minus beta on the left side is equal to 2 copies of sine alpha cosine beta. Now, if we divide both sides by 2, then on the right side, we get left alone sine alpha cosine beta, and that will equal 1/2 of sine alpha plus beta plus sine of alpha minus beta. And that's actually our identity that we want to prove. So this shows us how to take a product of two trig functions and expand it into a sum of just sines, which is very convenient. Alright, we'll put a box on that. Alright. Now, we can perform a very similar process here using cosines to discover more fun facts. So cosine of alpha plus beta is equal to cosine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta. And if we have cosine of alpha minus beta, well, that's equal to cosine alpha cosine beta plus sine alpha sine beta. Now, if we did the same thing and just added here, notice these terms die, and that leaves us with cosine alpha plus beta plus cosine of quantity alpha minus beta is equal to 2 cosine alpha cosine beta. Now again, we can divide out the 2 on both sides, and so we get the product of cosine alpha times cosine beta is equal to 1/2 of cosine alpha plus beta plus cosine of alpha minus beta. Alright, that's our second fun fact. So our first fun fact was what happens if you have a sine times some cosine. In this case here we have a cosine times another cosine of two different angles. And we can rewrite that in terms of cosines. Now, we can actually do a very similar step to what we just did before and actually get a third identity. So notice, let's go ahead and get this set up here. So, and then we got cosine of alpha minus beta, cosine alpha cosine beta plus sine alpha sine beta. Alright, now before we did addition, so what if we were to do subtraction now, right? So this entire quantity is going to be subtracted. So on the left side, you get cosine of alpha minus or alpha plus beta minus a quantity of cosine alpha minus beta. So you want to keep in mind that this negative sign here is going to have a negative here, here, and here. It has to distribute, okay? So keep that in mind. That negative is distributing to every term. And that means now these two terms are going to cancel out because you have a positive cosine alpha, cosine beta in the top, but it's being subtracted by a cosine alpha, cosine beta from this bottom equation. Alright. And then, oops. So what we are going to be left with is actually -2 copies of sine alpha, sine beta. So if we divide both sides by -2, then we get sine alpha, sine beta has to equal 1/2. So I'm just going to distribute the negative. So we get cosine of alpha minus beta minus cosine of cosine of alpha plus beta. So we get this right side is going to be rearranged because, as I said, I'm distributing that negative across. So we divide both sides by the -2, so that's why we got the half, and then I decided I'm going to distribute that negative to what's being multiplied. That way we get something simpler. Alright, and that is actually our third identity. So there are 3 product to sum identities. And we can just zoom out so we can take a look at them all on one screen here. Lovely. And there they are in nice blue boxes for you. Alright. Now in the next video we will look at the sum to product identity. So here it was product to sum, so now we're going to consider what happens when you have 2 trig functions added together. How can you write those as products? If you've enjoyed our content, please consider subscribing and supporting us on Patreon. Your support is what makes this channel thrive. Thank you for watching our video. Thank you for joining our math party, and I will see you next time.